Now, what are the characteristics of alveoli that facilitate gas exchange? This is the alveoli surrounded by blood vessels. So, this is the alveoli surrounded by blood capillaries. The characteristics that facilitate the gas exchange at this level are the thin wall of alveoli. Notice that the alveoli have very thin wall, which is 1/1000 millimeter. As long as the wall of the alveoli is thin, it permits the exchange of respiratory gases between the alveoli and blood capillaries. 2. Large surface area of alveoli. There are millions of alveoli that cover around 200 meters square. And number 3, highly vascularized alveoli are rich in blood vessels. They are surrounded by a network of blood vessels. So these are the characteristics of alveoli that facilitate the gas exchange. In this slide, we are going to talk about the gas exchange at level of tissues. As we said before, that the cells or the tissues, they take oxygen and they release CO2. So these are the cells surrounded by blood capillaries. This blood capillary coming to the tissue, it is coming from the lungs or from the alveoli. It's rich in oxygen. If we count here the CO2, we notice that the cell is a medium which is rich in CO2. And here, if we count the number of CO2 of carbon dioxide particles at the level of blood capillary, we notice that there are only 2. So, according to concentration gradient, carbon dioxide diffuses from medium which is rich in carbon dioxide to a medium that is poor in carbon dioxide. So, carbon dioxide diffuses from the tissue to the blood capillaries. Coming to the oxygen diffuses from blood capillary to the cell, because in this case blood capillary is rich in oxygen and the cell is poor in oxygen, so oxygen diffuses from blood capillary to the cell. At the end, the blood which leaves the cell, it is enriched with CO2 and it is poor in O2. This blood will leave the cell, going to the lungs, going to the alveoli, and to make another gas exchange where it gives the alveolus the CO2 and it takes the oxygen, and again the gas exchange repeats. Now, what are the factors that facilitate the gas exchange? I mean here, what are the factors that help the gas facilitate the gas exchange at the level of capillary? Yani, what are the characteristics of the capillary that help in gas exchange? The capillary has thin wall, and the circulation at the level of capillary is slow. As long as the circulation of blood is slow, it permits the gas exchange, because if the circulation is fast, so there is no time for gases to be exchanged. So as long as the circulation at the level of capillary is slow, then this helps in facilitating the gas exchange between the blood capillary and the alveoli, or between the blood capillary and the cells. This slide, it is found in your textbook. What you have to do is to read the amount of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide at the level of inhaled air and at the level of blood entering the alveolus or the lungs. Notice here the oxygen in the inhaled air, it is 21. So here in the alveolus the oxygen is 21, and in blood entering the lungs, which is coming from the organs, it's only 15. Look at the carbon dioxide, it is 0.03, while in the blood entering the lung coming from the organs, it is 53. So according to concentration gradient, as we said before, oxygen will diffuse from alveolus to blood, and CO2 diffuses from blood to alveolus. This is an application. What you have to do is to compare the amount of oxygen in the alveolus, which means that comes from the inhaled air to the amount of oxygen entering the lung. This is number 1.1. 1.2, you have to compare the amount of carbon dioxide and what do you conclude concerning the gas exchange at this level. Please keep in mind that during comparison you have to use more than and less than or equal to. Finally, please read page 36-37 in your textbook. Observe the documents well in these pages, and finally solve page 30 in your workbook. And thank you.